group 4.6, and our topic is aphasia after stroke. Now, group members are Lauren, Isabella, Lucy, Alicia, and Anju.
So we'll start with what is aphasia. Aphasia is an acquired language disorder that results from damage to the brain in areas where language is formulated and interpreted. One common cause of aphasia is after a stroke. During a stroke, blood is unable to reach certain parts of the brain, resulting in decreased oxygen supply to the brain cells. If the oxygen supply is cut off, the brain cells die, which can cause either temporary or permanent damage to language. People suffering from aphasia are likely to experience difficulties in speaking, writing, reading, and comprehension. There are 4 different types of aphasia. These are expressive, receptive, anomic, and global aphasia. Expressive aphasia is when a person knows what they want to say, however have trouble saying or writing it. Receptive aphasia involves the loss of comprehension. The voice or text can be heard and seen, although they are unable to make sense of it. Thirdly, people suffering from anomic aphasia have no trouble with speech or comprehension, however they are unable to recall or communicate noun words. Lastly is global aphasia, in which the person is unable to speak, understand speech, read, or write. So question 2. Which populations are affected by aphasia? Aphasia generally results from damage to the areas of the brain responsible for controlling language. The damage can occur in several ways and thereby can affect all populations. Those who have suffered a stroke, had an infection, tumours, dementia, and head injuries are all at risk of acquiring this disorder. Although even children and teenagers can develop aphasia, it is more common in adulthood and late adulthood in both men and women. The prevalence of aphasia indicates the number of people who are living with aphasia in a given time. The incidence refers to the number of new cases identified in a peak time. As we now know, stroke is the most common cause of aphasia. Indeed, up to 38% of stroke survivors can have aphasia. In the USA, its incidence is estimated to be at 80,000 new cases per year, whilst the prevalence has been calculated to be at approximately 1 million people currently living with the disorder. The Community Affairs References Committee undertook a study in Australia that identified approximately 37.2% of acute stroke admissions to the Royal Perth Hospital over a 10-month period was diagnosed with aphasia. Based on an incidence of 37.2%, it was estimated that in 2012 there were 18,253 new cases of aphasia in Australia. Speech therapy is the most popular way to recovery. However, it has been said that recovery rates are somewhat higher in those who acquire aphasia as a result of trauma compared to aphasia acquired from stroke. However, for all types of aphasia and if acquired through stroke, it has been proven that speech therapy as a treatment is most effective in the early stages of diagnosis, and indeed most improvement is shown within the first 3 months.
We will now discuss the stories of aphasia sufferers Sarah and Angela and explore the factors contributing to their lived experiences and how and why the experiences differ. Sarah Scott had a stroke at the age of 18. She has posted yearly updates on her YouTube channel to demonstrate the progress she has made with her aphasia and to give hope and support to other aphasia sufferers. In her videos, Sarah provides us with an update of her life and describes the ways in which she is working to overcome her aphasia. Through Sarah's videos, it is clear how much progress she makes each year with her speech and also her writing and reading. In the early videos, 1 and 2 years after her stroke, her speech is very slow and laboured, and she often forgets words and needs prompting to explain what she means. In her early videos, she says that it is sometimes frustrating and embarrassing that she still struggles with her speech. She also says that having the stroke has changed her as a person. She says that before she had the stroke, she wanted to study at university, but now she no longer wishes to do so and would rather pursue something more practical and hands-on. She is also having weekly speech therapy at this point, but she says that she gets easily frustrated with the therapy. She says it angers her when she can't express herself effectively. It also frustrates her that the process of regaining her speech is so lengthy. In her later videos, it is evident how much her speech has improved. 6 years after her stroke, she had joined a stroke support group, which she says gives her comfort and people to talk to in similar situations. In this video, she demonstrates how much her speech has improved by performing speech exercises. She is able to describe what is happening in a picture and read a paragraph of writing. She says that she is looking into some intensive speech therapy in the US, which is unavailable in the UK. Sarah finds it frustrating that there aren't more options for intensive speech therapy in the UK. She is still working with her aphasia support group, and she also has a job at a high school as a lab assistant, which she enjoys. She says that the job does involve a lot of speaking, which is challenging, but very good for the improvement of her condition. Sarah finds it surprising how long it has taken her to get to this point in her speech, but she remains hopeful that her aphasia is still going to improve with the continuation of her work with speech therapy. Unlike Sarah, Angela Behrens was 34 weeks pregnant when she had a stroke. It was the middle of the night when she had felt the immense pain of her headache and had a burst brain aneurysm during that night. As a result of this, Angela was on life support and had to undergo brain surgery with her unborn child. Even a week later, she was on life support, and in order for her to receive strong dosages of medication, her son was born via a caesarean section. Fortunately, Angela woke up a week later, however did not remember being on life support, did not remember having her baby, and was unable to move, talk, and breathe without mechanical assistance. During the first month of Angela's condition, she felt confused, frustrated, had no independence, anger, sorrow, and hopelessness. In the early stages of her stroke, she also had difficulty with talking, listening, reading, writing, and using numbers. Angela was very frustrated because she had many intelligent thoughts she wanted to get across to others, but couldn't because of the language difficulties she suffered. Angela had difficulty listening and understanding because it was hard for her to understand what she had just heard, even though she had no problems with her hearing. Different methods that helped her with this problem were one-on-one communication, speaking clearly and slowly, and facing the person so that she could lip read. In addition, she found writing more difficult than speaking as well. Different methods that helped her with this included a lot of therapy and her husband helping her with the editing of her story, even though she knew what to write, as words came out wrong and grammar, spelling, and punctuation was difficult for her to write and understand. Since Angela's stroke, she believes that it has altered the direction of her life immensely, and she could have been a stroke victim, but luckily experienced an unforeseen blessing. Angela is now 80% recovered and believes that it is important to be an active participant in society and wants to help others who also suffer the same condition as her, so she does aphasia awareness speeches for the Australian Aphasia Association. There are 4 main reasons to why both Sarah and Angela's lived experiences differ. The first reason being that they were both completely different ages when being diagnosed with aphasia, and were both diagnosed in different ways, which shows that anyone can get the disorder in more than one way. Sarah was 18 and Angela was 34 and also pregnant. The second reason is that Sarah's main issue that resulted because of her aphasia was her speech impairments. However, for Angela, she had multiple difficulties including reading, writing, listening, and understanding. This shows that aphasia is different for everyone and that some people have a higher severity of the disorder. Thirdly, Sarah was unable to access the intensive therapy she needed for her condition in the UK and was frustrated about the fact that the therapy process was very slow and that her speech was developing at a slow rate as well. However, Angela was from Australia and for her, therapy was the main treatment she used to help her writing and talking, as it was widely available and accessible for her. Finally, Sarah was able to immensely improve her speech impairments through different forms of methods and treatment other than therapy, such as joining support groups. However, Angela did not join support groups to treat her disorder, as she had other accessible resources such as therapy, and now also helps others who have had aphasia. Both of these 2 aphasia sufferers have continued to suffer the effects of aphasia and will never make a full recovery. However, both have proven that by accepting the adversity and persevering with life, they can come out successful and remain positive. The most important factor that ties them both together is that instead of becoming stroke victims, They have both embraced their differences, worked with them and around them, and have come out on top and continue to help other people. This concludes our presentation on aphasia after stroke.